So hello, good morning everyone.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yesterday we saw something about the pericardium. So today we will be starting with the development of the heart. Okay. So you see, when you look at this picture directly, so it won't be possible to touch each and every aspects. So only the main aspects and the concept I would like to finish in the class today. So you know the three stages, there are three different layers of an embryo which starts at the third week of intrauterine life, isn't it? One is the ectoderm, the mesoderm and the endoderm, isn't it? So if you look at this picture, this one is the, can you see the screen? Yes?
Yes, sir.
So this is the ectoderm, in between this is the mesoderm,
Yes, sir.
and this is the endoderm, isn't it? Now, you see, in the middle of the third week, initially, the embryo was getting, before the middle of the third week, the embryo was getting nutrition through the diffusion, isn't it? So there is an outer layer known as the tropoblast. The tropoblast containing two layers against in situ and cytotrophoblast, they were invading the maternal area, okay, that is known as the decidua. From there, the maternal arteries were coming, and through the intervillar spaces, the future intervillar spaces, the embryo was getting the nutrition through the process of diffusion. But in the third week, what happens? The embryo cannot sustain itself through the diffusion, because again from the third week, organogenesis will start. The different organs will start forming. Okay, so therefore, it has to develop a system of its own, that is the circulatory system with the heart, so that the whole thing can be distributed all throughout the body. So in the middle of the third week, the development of the cardiac development begins. The development of the heart begins. Okay. Now on the day 22nd or even day 21st, the heart starts beating. That means by the time it is being formed, it also starts beating. And that is, if you can imagine that suppose a lady is pregnant, okay, and she is having an amenorrhea, she is waiting for her next period. So before she know that she is pregnant, the heart starts beating. Okay. So you see, in the third week itself, there is organogenesis, and on the 21st day, the heart starts beating. Now, how it happens? Let's see through the pictures. I'll just go and draw some pictures for you today, because like that, I think that will be more easier for you. So you see, this is what you are seeing from above. Okay. So this is the neuroectoderm, isn't it? Starting of the third week, this process is known as gastrulation. Okay, this is the cut edge of amnion. Okay, now what happens? See, from the epiblast itself, the three different germ layers are formed. The first, through the primitive streak, okay, the some of the cells will go down, then they will form the endoblast. In between them, whatever will remain will form the the endoderm, then the mesoderm, then whatever will remain is the ectoderm, isn't it? Now, when that whole process was going on, some of the cells from the epiblast, that is this layer, they migrate through this primitive streak, they lie in the mesoderm in front of the neural plate. Okay, and this area, they are forming this area, the shape of which is like a horseshoe. Okay, and this is known as the cardiogenic field. This area in front and by the side of the developing neural plate. See, if you see this picture, this cardiogenic field which is being shown here, it lies just above the endoderm in the splanchnic mesoderm, isn't it? Just above the endoderm in the splanchno-puric mesoderm. Okay, but from above, if I need to explain it, I will have to say that this lies on the side, in front, and on the side of the developing neural plate. In which layer? In splanchno-puric mesoderm. Now, if you can remember, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm just trying to help you and me out here by drawing things. Okay, so if this one, this, what is this? Anyone? The arrow which I have put over there. What is that? What is that? Yes. What is this?
Ectoderm.
Ectoderm. So what is developing over here? There is a fold. There is a fold. What will develop here? What will get developed here? This is the neuroectoderm, isn't it? So over here there will be folding like that. Okay, now these fold will together get later on fused. Okay, so that there will be formation of a tube. This tube is initially attached, later on it will be detached. Okay, so this is the ectoderm. So this is the formation, this is how the neural tube will be formed. Okay, beneath that, so this is the developing embryo. So what is this layer I am drawing? This one? This layer I am drawing. What is this layer? The yellow one. What is this cavity? This cavity, this is amniotic cavity. Okay, this is neuroectoderm. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is the coronal section. If the embryo lies like that, okay, if the embryo lies like that, this is the sagittal section of an embryo. We have taken a cut section here, okay, and we are seeing it from this side. So the picture you are getting is this. Okay. So this one is the red one is the red one is the endoderm. Okay. The yellow one is the mesoderm, and this is the neuroectoderm. Now, what is this? Anyone? What is this? So this is the
Notochord.
notochord. Okay. Now, by the side, these two are the paraxial mesoderm. This is the intermediate mesoderm, which divides into two. Okay. This is known as the splachnopuric, and this is the somatopleuric. Okay, mesoderm. Okay, the splachnopuric will be covering the endoderm. The somatopleuric will be lining the whole of the body wall. Okay, it will be lining the whole of the body wall. So this splachnopuric and somatopleuric are divisions of what we call it as lateral plate mesoderm. So paraxial mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm, the lateral plate mesoderm, which divides into somatopleuric and splachnopuric mesoderm. Now you see the heart cells, which are also known as the cardiac progenitor cells, they will come from the epiblast through the primitive streak. They will come and they will lie somewhere in the splachnopuric mesoderm. Okay, in the splachnopuric mesoderm over here. Is this part understood? So here these cells are the cardiac progenitor cells. They have migrated from the epiblast through the primitive streak, then they have come to lie on the either side. So they will come, this is the primitive streak, this is the ectoderm, this part is the neuroectoderm. Okay, this is the neuroectoderm. This we will draw it as yellow. So this is the endoderm. Okay, and in between them, since they are coming from the primitive streaks, they will lie by the side and in front. So that side also it will be like that. Okay, in front and by the side, at which layer? At the splachniopuric mesoderm. So this is the splachniopuric, we can show it. Okay, suppose there is a, so this is the ectoderm, the yellow one is the endoderm, so this is the mesoderm. So they are lying in the splachniopuric mesoderm by the side, in the front and on that side, like a horseshoe shaped area, and this field is known as cardiogenic field. Okay, now these were cardiac progenitor cells, okay, which form the cardiogenic field, where, let us see, in front and by the side of the neural plate. This is how they lie. Okay, now soon what happens, these two area, okay, which I have already said is in the shape of the horseshoe, okay, so they will, these cardiac progenitor cells, they will be forming first the cardiac myocytes, and second is the blood islands. These are the two components, the cardiac progenitor cells. The migration, when this is happening, in the middle of the third week, the cardiac myocytes will form the myocardium, the muscular part. The blood islands will form the endocardium. Okay, so here whatever is happening will be happening in the splachniopuric mesoderm. Okay, so let us see how and how it happens. So this area, there will be some cells, okay, the cardiac progenitor cells, okay, which will form the myocardium. So these are the cardiac myocytes. Some of them will be lining it, okay, so they will be forming the blood islands, and these blood islands in turn will be forming the endocardium as well as the blood inside it. Okay, now what we have got? We have got two areas with endocardium, future endocardium, myocardium. How? It's a shape like a horseshoe. Okay, so here you see these are the cardiac myocytes, and inside there is something which is known as hemangioblasts. Okay, the blood islands, they are formed by hemangioblasts. So there are two things, heme and angioblast. The heme part will form the blood, okay, inside. The angioblast, okay, will form the vessels or the endocardium, and over it is the cardiac myocytes, which will form the myocardium. So now we are having some arrangement like this, and if you see it in sagittal section, you see, if you again remember, okay, I'll show it here. If you remember, this is the ectoderm, endoderm, this is the, from here, this is the primitive streak. Now if you cut it, you won't see this area and that area, or what you are seeing in only in front area over here somewhere, isn't it? You're only seeing in front. So this is the area of the cardiogenic field, because we have already taken a section like that. We have already taken a section, cut section here. So you cannot see on either sides. So this area that we are seeing is in front. We have taken a section like that, we cannot see this and this, isn't it? So this is the cardiogenic field, where you can see a tubular structure, which is the heart tube. On either side one tube, another side one more tube. Okay, this is the heart tube. Okay, where it lies, see, there is an area just in front, okay, of the developing neuroectoderm. where the ectoderm and the endoderm are in close proximity. This area is the future mouth. Okay, stomatodium. Now it lies in front of the future mouth or the stomatodium and on either side of it. You understand? Okay. Till here, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So you see, this is the oropharyngeal membrane or the stomatodium, where the ectoderm and the endoderm are okay adherent. Where is the cardiogenic field? In this area, and on either side, which we cannot see in this slide. Okay, because they have been cut. Now this is where the tube is formed. Again, I'll try to draw it. This is the area. The tube. We are taking a section from here. Okay, this is where a tube is formed. Where it is formed? Just in front of the stomatodium. Okay. Now, so let us just concentrate here. Again, this was the developing brain. Okay. This was the endoderm. Okay. And here is the ectoderm. Okay. Where the heart is developing? Somewhere here. Okay. One tube is here, another tube is over there, that area. Okay, this was horseshoe shaped, isn't it? Now, in the second part, see there is a fold of embryo. Okay, there is a fold of embryo in anterior and posterior as well as sideways. Okay, anterior, posterior as well as sideways. Now, when this folding is happening, along with this folding, what is happening? The growth of the brain. Okay, so like this, the brain is growing along with the cephalocaudal fold. Along with the cephalocaudal fold, the brain is also growing. So what is happening here? Due to this folding, okay, the heart which was initially here, okay, comes down, down in the cervical part. Okay, it has been taken down till due to the overgrowth of the brain, so that it comes down. So this is an area where there is now the heart which is being developed. Later on, when the brain grows more and when there is more of a folding here, okay, now this is in cervical part in front. So initially it was here, isn't it? Then it moved to the cervical part and then it will move to the future thoracic area. Okay, so this is how, so initially somewhere here was the stomatodium. So initially it was in front of it, then it moved to the cervical region, then into the thoracic region. Why? Because there is cephalocaudal folding. Okay, so you can make it out. It goes like this to the future thorax. Okay, so till here is it understood?
Yes, sir.
So what happens? You see, you are seeing that there is one tube, there is another tube. So two tubes on either side. So one tube like this, okay, another tube like this, horseshoe shaped, isn't it? Now, along with this cephalocaudal folding, which was happening, okay, there is another folding which is known as the lateral folding. So they will fold like this also. So if you see it in sagittal section, what we have drawn earlier, if we see it, so this is the ectoderm, suppose, okay, this is the mesoderm, so there is the endoderm itself inside. This is just the schematic picture where where the heart is developing, where these tubes are developing, in here, in the splanchnopuric. Okay, in the splanchnopuric. Okay, so this is the tubes. This is the coronal section. This is what you are seeing it from above. ऊपर से ऐसा दिखेगा. Now you see, as I have told you, there is folding. This folding we already discussed, anteroposterior folding. Now there is another folding which is known as the lateral folding. Now what happens in the lateral folding? It will go like this. Okay? The lateral folding will go something like this. Okay? So now due to this lateral folding, okay, it goes, and so this part, it overgrows. The lateral fold overgrows this part. So this will overgrow this area. This will overgrow this area, and what will happen is this area will be getting pinched off. This area will be smaller and smaller. Okay. Now these two tubes, due to this lateral folding, these two tubes will come together. Okay, so that now they lie nearer to each other. The whole thing will lie nearer to each other. Okay, if you see here, these two tubes, they will come together. Okay, they will lie nearer to each other, and at a certain part, at a certain area, they will get fused. What happens there? There is a programmed cell death which is known as apoptosis. So from from two tubes on either sides, due to the lateral folding, there is a single heart tube. So what you are getting here? So if the tubes are coming together, they will be coming like that, isn't it? They will be coming like this, isn't it? So these are the heart tubes. They are coming towards each other. Due to what? Due to lateral folding. Why they have come to the thoracic region? Due to anterocephalocaudal folding. Okay, now these two tubes, a time will come when they will fuse. Okay, to form a single heart tube. So they are forming now a single heart tube enclosed this cavity which was alongside it. Okay, this is the cavity, isn't it? Now the heart will enter inside this cavity. Okay, and this is the pericardial cavity. Okay, so till this understood, so it fuses in the middle. So somewhere in the middle, cephalic area and caudal area are still there are two tubes. Okay, it starts fusing in the middle. So till now, have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So this is the body wall, isn't it? Now along with it, another pair of vessels by the side of it through a process which is known as angiogenesis. Okay, angiogenesis and vasculogenesis, they will be having communication over here. So this communication, so later on it will get fused and fused and fused in the middle like that. So this, now the heart tube is there and it is having a communication. Okay, where? To both sides. It's having a communication to both the sides. Okay, there are some venous plexuses which are draining the body, okay, and which is being communicated in the lower side of the heart tube. Okay, now there is a single heart tube in the midline there, which is there in the pericardial cavity, and now it is having an outflow and an inflow. See, along with the heart, in the other parts of the body, there are vessels being formed. There are new sprouting vessels coming out from there through angiogenesis. Vessels are formed through vasculogenesis. Sprouting happens through angiogenesis, and they get connected with the heart tube. Okay. Now you have an outflow, you have an inflow, and where it is the pericardial cavity where it lies. Okay, it lies and it will enter the future. Suppose I am just drawing here. So it will enter the future pericardial cavity. Okay, so this is how the heart tube is formed. Okay, is it okay till here? So on either side you
Yes,
have
sir.
two tubes in the midline, and somewhere here in this region the heart tube is formed, and here see this tube enters. So we have seen how the pericardial cavity is formed. So it will enter the pericardial cavity from behind. Okay, while it does that thing, it also folds. Okay, now we will see that. Again, you see this is the heart tube. Okay, this is the heart tube. This is यहाँ पे the venous end, and this is the arterial end. Okay, or in other words, this is the inflow and this is the outflow. Okay, so 21st day the heart starts beating. Okay, in the 23rd day, what happens? There is a process which is known as the folding of the heart tube. Now, in folding, the cephalic part, the upper part moves downwards and to the right. The lower part moves upwards and to the left. Okay. So when it starts at the 23rd day. Now you see, while this is happening, the heart has already started beating, 21st day. Okay, and now it is being divided into different chambers. There are different swellings. When this folding is happening, there are also some swellings which are there. Okay, so these swellings, there are some structures which are formed. Okay, so there are basically 4 swellings. Okay, we just draw the first, then second, okay, third, and lastly the fourth part. Okay, so this first one is known as the bulbous cordis. Okay, this is known as the primitive ventricle. Okay, the next is known as the primitive atrium. Okay, and lastly this is known as the sinus venosus. Now bulbous cordis is again divided into 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is divided into 3 parts. What are those? The first part is known as truncus arteriosus because it will form the arterial trunks. The second part is known as the conus cordis. Okay, the second part. This is the first part, and this has got no names. This is the lower 1/3. This is just named lower 1/3 of the bulbous cordis. Next is we are having the primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, sinus venosus. Till here is it clear? Heart tube, where is it formed? Where it lies? No, where it is lying, the heart tube. See again, if you are getting confused. So it is now in the pericardial cavity, initially in the cervical part. Okay, it is being formed in the mesoderm which lies in the future thorax. Okay, now this is happening. Again, I will repeat. There are 4 swellings. The first one is bulbous cordis, second one is primitive ventricle, third one is primitive atrium, then the sinus venosus. The bulbous cordis divided into truncus arteriosus, conus cordis, and the lower one third. This is the outflow. Okay, and the outflow of the heart we know is the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. The inflow goes to the sinus venosus, and there are three veins. Okay, three pairs actually. So this, the outermost is known as the common cardinal vein. The middle one is known as umbilical vein. Okay, this one is known as the vitelline vein. The common cardinal vein is draining the body. The umbilical vein brings nutrition from the placenta. Okay, vitelline vein draining the yolk sac. Okay, so this is the inflow, and I have got, I think, a picture for this. Yeah, you see. Now can you imagine, this is the heart tube being formed, this is the outflow being connected through the aorta, the dorsal aorta on either side. This is the inflow. So vitelline vein draining the yolk sac. Okay, umbilical vein bringing the nutrition from the placenta, and these are the cardinal veins. The common cardinal. This is the common cardinal. This is the posterior and the anterior cardinal veins, and the common. So there are these three veins. Are you following now? Yes. So the vitelline vein is draining the yolk sac, umbilical vein, placenta, common cardinal vein, the body. Now you have to memorize over here these how, at least you have to memorize this, then only we'll be able to proceed further. Is it okay? Till here, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So now shall we proceed? Okay, this is an important topic. So I think these things over here shouldn't be missed. Now the truncus arteriosus will be forming the outflow part of aorta and the pulmonary trunk. Okay, the proximal, the part of the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. The conus cordis is forming the outflow of the both the ventricles. The lower one third is forming the right ventricle. Then the primitive ventricle is forming the left ventricle. ठीक है, तो ये तो बताइए है both atriums. The primitive atria is forming the both atrias. Then sinus venosus we will see. Okay, this is a little complex. We will see what happens to it. It opens though. This is a tube which is patent, isn't it? There is a wall and this is patent. The blood is moving from here till up. Okay, truncus arteriosus. Now we'll see. Now this is what the heart tube will look like. Okay, so there is folding happening, isn't it? There is folding happening. So folding मतलब ऐसा चला जाएगा, isn't it? Now the heart tube is something like that. It's folding, ठीक है? यहाँ पे it's having, what is this? What is this part? What is this part? So this will be something like that. This is what? The horns of the sinus venosus. Same here. I told you, in folding this area, the cephalic area comes forward, downwards, the caudal area goes backwards, upwards. So the cephalic area has come downwards, the caudal area has gone backwards. This is the sinus venosus, two horns. What is opening? The three veins here on either side. Okay, so this is the two horns of the sinus venosus. Okay, and this is the body of the sinus venosus. Okay, after that, this part is the primitive atrium. Okay, this area is the truncus arteriosus. This area is the, after truncus arteriosus, what is there? What is there? Yes, after truncus arteriosus, what is there?
Primitive ventricle.
This is truncus arteriosus, this is conus cordis. Conus cordis. Okay, then there is the lower one third, which will form the right ventricle. After that, there is the primitive ventricle, which will form the left ventricle. Then there is the atria. Okay, this part, just answer me. Truncus arteriosus, what it will form? What it will form?
Aorta and pulmonary trunk.
The conus cordis will be forming the outflow of the ventricles. The lower one third is forming the right ventricle. So
Right
already
one.
it has come into shape, isn't it? The primitive ventricle is forming the left ventricle, then the atrius. Okay? So when you see the heart, I'm just drawing. Okay, when you see the heart, it's something like this, isn't it? So atrius, where the vena cavas are opening. After that, there is the pulmonary trunk, isn't it? There is the pulmonary trunk like that. Okay, overriding it is the aorta. Okay, pulmonary trunk is like that on either side. These are the vena cavas. Okay, so the right ventricle has this outflow, isn't it? The left ventricle has that outflow. This is the superior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. Okay. Till now, is it okay how it is formed, how the tube is formed, and what are the different parts of the tube? Till here, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll try it. I'll
Yes,
try to
sir.
finish from 2 to 4. Let me see how much I can finish. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.